I might be late to the party, but I think this scent is a bit of a slap to Creed and not an intended clone. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have Montblanc Explorer versus Aventus, and if this is your first time on the channel, this is a part of a series where I compare Aventus with its clones. First I give you some information about the scent, then we compare the opening, mid and dry down, talk a little bit about compliments, price, versatility, and yeah, that's it. Now, Montblanc Explorer was released in 2019 and it was created by a group of perfumers from Givaudan, which name I will post on the screen. I don't think this scent was meant to directly go after Aventus like Creed. Took inspiration from Montblanc Individuel with original Santal, but it definitely feels like a bit of a slap to Creed, from my opinion. The note comparison is not very important here because sometimes it doesn't translate well to how the scent actually smells. We do see some similarities, but also some very distinctive notes like Akigala wood, clary sage and cocoa pods. On paper it might sound a bit weird, but in reality they blend very well together and work nicely with the other notes. Now the scent opens with a fresh blast of green, peppery, citrus fruitiness. It's nice, it's uplifting and quite round, not very sharp, easy on the nose. What I'm trying to say, it feels pretty smooth and it's very fresh and uplifting. The fruitiness here, it reminds me of a green pineapple, slightly juicy, slightly peppery, a bit aromatic and very lightly herbal. And to be honest, it's very interesting how this accord was created. Now, compared to my bottles of Aventus, the opening of Montblanc Explorer has a very green pineapple note that I find in my older batch, only in the opening. And I think here in the opening is where you get the strongest similarity to Aventus. I know this batch that I have here, 15x21, has a greener pineapple accord in the opening than my other batch, and Montblanc seems to replicate that quite well. Maybe it's even a bit more accentuated here. In the first 10-15 minutes the opening feels very close. I'll give you the same percentages again, and just keep in mind this is not scientific, it's just a way to express how I perceive these two fragrances. Here I would say it's around 90-95, similar to my older batch of Aventus. The similarities are, it has the same fruitiness, juiciness, it has that green character, that peppery touch that you don't find often in other clones of Aventus or inspired fragrances. Differences, Montblanc feels a little bit sharper, more greener and peppery, a little bit more herbal, less depth in the fruitiness than you have in Aventus. However, it has a very solid opening, definitely way much better than Club de Nuit Intense Men, and I don't want to trash that fragrance because I'm wearing that fragrance a lot. However, I cannot admit that it's better than Montblanc Explorer. Now, going to the mid, the fruitiness starts to fade, the scent becomes greener with a slightly watery effect in the background. You also start to get a bit of that powdery sweetness that probably comes from a cocoa pod. I'm not entirely sure because it doesn't smell like cocoa to me, but it has this powdery creaminess that you also find in cocoa. I don't get any strong leathery, smoky notes. Maybe just a very faint suede-like creaminess here and there. It has that mass-appealing daily blue fragrance vibe, easy to wear, easy to like, which makes sense because this is a designer scent, but in the same time is very well engineered. And to that I'm trying to say that it's very nicely composed, it has very nice transitions and feels good quality. Here the similarity to Aventus drops around 70-80%. The similarities are same woody floral structure that we have on Aventus, we have it here as well, but a little bit more greener, and the fruitiness here remains but is not as strong as you'd have it in Aventus. The difference is it lacks that smoky woody depth Aventus is known for. The fruitiness here fades faster than in Aventus, and that floral part is not very accentuated as you have in Aventus, of course. In the dry down, similarity drop about 60-70%. Explorer becomes muskier, slightly sweeter. It doesn't have that utmost depth that Aventus has. You can clearly pick up some cocoa powdery notes now in the dry down, which is very nice and blends nicely with the musk and the other woody elements. We have also some ambery woodiness from the ambroxan, which is very well done and somehow similar to Aventus. But overall at this stage the scent moves further away from Aventus, like going on its own path. Overall thoughts: this is a very beautiful and easy to wear fragrance, perfect for office, daily wear, casual, gym, going out, you name it. Compared to Aventus, it feels very close in the beginning, from my opinion, especially to my older batches 15x21, but then slowly becomes its own thing. It's more like a interpretation of the Aventus idea rather than a direct clone like Club de Nuit Intense Man or L'Aventure or the other clones. Performance: this is an EDP and on my skin lasts around 7 to 8 hours. Projection is very good in the first hour, then it slowly becomes closer to your personal space. Even though this is an EDP, it behaves more like an EDT, a bit lighter and airier, more diffusive. It feels like it lacks a little bit of backbone. The sillage is airy, diffusive, slightly aromatic and a bit watery. Compliments: I personally didn't receive compliments with this one, but that doesn't mean it won't get any. It has strong potential because it smells clean, fresh, slightly sweet. It has that woody, musky base, but it's soft, it's not harsh, it's not skanky, animalic. It's very easy to like, no reason for people to dislike it. The price, it's very affordable, you can find it around $50 at discounters, which is more than fair from my opinion. For that price, this can be easily be a signature scent, daily wear, gym, or even casual fragrance. Versatility is very versatile, you can wear it year round, but I think it performs better in spring, summer, fall. In the winter it might not have the same presence, it doesn't have enough strength to push through the cold air. Aventus, on the other hand, it can be worn year round. I think it's one of the most versatile fragrances that you can find. Now, this is also a great office scent. I wore this a lot to work, and I also like to take it when I travel because it's very inoffensive and works very well in close proximity. So that was my take on Montblanc Explorer versus Aventus. I hope you found something useful here, and if you did, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other Aventus comparison. I have a full playlist with videos. And as always, until the next time, take care.